I want to hear this. And so I got to ask you, out of the trilogy, which one's your favorite?
That's a tough one. One or two, obviously. Uh, I might like two better, only because I'm Sicilian, as we know, and I love the stuff in Sicily very much.
Yeah.
But it's a toss up for me because one, you got Brando, and it's like he's the greatest actor that I've ever seen, and obviously Al and everybody in that. So I think one is. I'm gonna have to go with one.
One, huh? Yeah.
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 I,
I I, I toss between all three of them because I actually really like part three. There's certain elements of part three that I really like. But for me, I mean, it's tough. I lean towards two because I like
yeah.
the Cuba
Yeah.
element, and they go back
Sure.
and forth between Sicily and then the times today. So it's just
Sicily. Why are we talking Sicily? I don't know why. But Godfather 3, I'll tell you what. That was one of my first auditions in Los Angeles. Okay?
wow.
So I told you I was in acting class with Harry Master George with Ray and Ray Liotta and Melanie Griffith, and
You
I was
auditioned for the third Godfather?
yeah, I'll tell you the story. It's a
Oh
little
wow.
crazy story. So back then, they would just you would submit headshots, like paper headshots. So I remember sitting in the acting class. I would sit all the way in the back because I was so nervous and I didn't know what I was doing. So I basically watch all the time. I never really got on stage. And the one time I got on stage, I was totally horrible. Didn't know what I was doing. Seriously, it was embarrassing. So I was a little bit disillusioned. And I was working with this really, really small agency and this manager that I told you about. And they got a hold of my picture, right? And they brought me in to read for Godfather 3 for the role that eventually went to Andy Garcia. Obviously, I was too young, but what happened was it was what they were looking for. They found it. I just wasn't ready for the part. Just wasn't ready to be in that level. And I remember going into the audition, and the casting director was a very, very big casting director, Roger Musendum, very, very nice man. And I remember going into the meeting with him, and there was no script. It was from Danny in the Deep Blue Sea, a play. So I called the acting coach. I said, Harry, I don't know what I'm doing. He goes, do what you do in class. I said, I don't know what I'm doing in class. He goes, just use your imagination. I was like, oh my Lord. So I did my best and I went in and I was really horrific. I mean, it was horrible, horrible, horrible performance. But Roger saw something in me, liked me. So he said, listen, come back. I want to work with you on the material. So he brought me back and I worked with him a little bit again. And I started to catch on. He goes, I'm going to bring you back. And then he brought me back in front of the producers and Mr. Coppola. And I basically had like a heart attack in the room. I was so nervous. I was like hyperventilating. And I went through the audition. It was like an out of body experience where you're like saying the words, but you're like really seeing that you're saying it really bad. So needless to say, did not get the part. But that was one of my first auditions in California. Crazy, right?
That's awesome. I mean, that would have been amazing if we saw you in God, especially in,
Yeah, I mean, anything would have been just holding somebody's shoe would have been great in The Godfather 3, you know?
I feel like you and Al Pacino would have had some really good chemistry together. That would have been awesome.
I would have loved, I had a friend of mine actually who ended up going to Sicily to work. He paid his way and he ended up being one of the bodyguards for Al.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I remember he told me, he goes, Michael, they used to go by the cafe and the cafe would leave all the fresh brioche out for Al, and I would pick up the bag and walk to the set. So they shot in an area where I'm from, maybe a couple of miles from where I'm from in Sicily. So listen, what an honor would that have been? Andy did a really nice job, but I think they still should have went with an Italian or a Sicilian, an authentic Sicilian, because he was as good as he was in and out of the accent. And for me,
That's been debated for many years. It's been debated a lot. Yeah.
and he's a wonderful actor. There's no question. He's a wonderful actor, Andy. And it's hard. It's hard to, listen, it is what it is. It's like me trying to play Cuban or me trying to play Puerto Rican. It's just, there's a certain taste to it, a certain smell to it. It's innate in you. And I think, and I just think the third one was doomed because it was the third one. I think that you had two masterpieces there.
Yeah.
That was really hard to, how do you beat that? It's like trying to do like On the Waterfront again or Streetcar. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you do that? So as good, it might have been a great movie by itself.
Yeah. Yeah.
and nobody would have said anything about anything, and it might have been like this brilliant film. But because there's these two, it's like with the Karate Kid. I mean, you had this really beautiful film, and then you get these other ones subsequently. You get the other one that's like, wait a minute. Or Rocky. To me, Rocky was brilliant.
Amazing, amazing.
And then you get the other ones that were decent. And then 5 was, Rocky Balboa was pretty good.
Part
right?
6, yeah.
And then Creed was good, but it's never going to be Rocky, no matter what you do. So it's like, it's hard. How do you measure that? You know what I mean, Zaya? How do you measure that? But 1 and 2 for sure. But 1 for me, listen, Marlon Brando is, just an Al, my 2 favorite actors. So I go there.
Yeah.
I drop it there.